guys, thanks so much for joining me. Rob, Alan, really great to have you guys join us. This is the inaugural CallShaper efficiency discussion of 2024. CallShaper's kind of come up with this idea and our concept and kind of mojo for 2024 is the year of efficiency and helping create efficiency. So we wanted to kick off the year with probably one of the most innovative and efficient new products that's out there and can link directly with CallShaper, which is OnScript AI. So we've got Alan and Rob here from OnScript, and they're going to talk a little bit about how OnScript AI, in conjunction with CallShaper or other platforms, helps to build and create efficiencies. So kick it off, guys. Tell us a little bit about what OnScript AI is and what it does.
Yeah. How's it going, Alec? First off, thank you for having us on here as your first guest of the year. It's an honor. But yeah, as far as what OnScript is, what it does, OnScript is an AI tool and a platform where a call center group can come in and pass all their calls into us from their dialer platform and have them scored automatically. So the idea behind it is to we're attempting to replace the old model of a human QC team where you'd typically have a whole team of people, sometimes dozens of people in some cases, going through and scoring calls manually. We're harnessing AI to transcribe the call into text, to summarize the call, and to do a full post-call QC analysis of what the QC team would typically call a scorecard. So the AI is going through and answering with context any question imaginable on a QC scorecard.
That's pretty cool. So it's actually going to be able to give these supervisors, managers, trainers a lot of their day back.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
What we've seen so far, we've got a few groups, teams of 10 plus QC agents, and we've seen those teams dwindle down to one or two people. That is really all that's needed now to go through and not so much score the calls, but just audit and spot check that the AI is getting everything right.
Right on. So, I mean, from an efficiency standpoint, that's making a huge difference for these clients, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Not only the reduced need for manpower, but efficiencies as far as time. These calls, that we're receiving are scored in minutes instead of, hours or days or even weeks later in some cases. They've got the data in hand as soon as the call is finished, while the call is still fresh in the agent's mind.
Excellent. Yeah, I can only imagine, the typical quality assurance rep is spending 5, 6, 8 hours a day listening to calls. So imagine having that person do something more constructive, like coaching people based on what OnScript AI is telling them, to go back to the agent and have these really powerful discussions using that human capital much more wisely. It's pretty amazing. So how did you guys come up with the idea of using
great
AI
question.
like this?
So we're all old call center guys. We've been working, running, building call centers. And one of the biggest pain points in our world was exactly what Alan was explaining. Human QC, QA people that all day we paid to listen to calls. And even if we saved money by going offshore, which many people do for QC, we still had a very inefficient process that in some cases were costing us in certain months $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 based on the amount of calls that we were running through our dialer and the amount of QC agents. So really, we sought out to build a tool that would not only help us in the call center business, but also help any call center from that problem in the ecosystem. And one of our partners, Mark, who's our CTO, had already been playing around with AI and different applications of AI, and saw this real need in the ecosystem to build a real better AI QC platform, not only better than humans, but also better than some of the other platforms and systems that we've seen out there. So it was really born out of the pain points that we saw in our own call centers.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Then with, I'm sure you guys are aware of all the changes and regulations coming down the pipe, that the call center world is going to probably be getting smaller. And a lot of people, when they hear AI, are thinking, well, AI is making the call. AI is doing the sale. AI is, well, according to the Federal Trade Commission and the Federal Communications Commission, those are illegal. So
That's right.
this is a powerful tool that sits kind of in the middle and becomes incredibly important for the businesses to, one, stay compliant, right? And making sure people are doing things the right way and being good actors. And two, keeping your costs down in the meantime, because God only knows, you had just said $40,000 to $50,000 for offshore QC. My God, like who can afford to lose that kind of money these days, right? Everybody's budgets are getting more tight. So you have to operate more efficiently and wisely. So, what kind of clients have you guys been seeing come your way? What kind of businesses are using OnScript AI now?
So we've seen a few different types of groups come through. The typical group that's small to medium size. They've got their own on or near shore call center operation of under 100 agents, and they're just looking for a solution that they can scale with. We've seen some BPO type groups that are large, some of the largest, coming around and testing it out. And then we've also seen a pretty unique use case that we hadn't thought of when we first built this was the lead gen groups who don't have their own call center, but they're selling their traffic, their inbound calls that they're generating on a duration to other groups. And they want to be able to hold those groups accountable. They have access to the recordings, but what are you going to do with a mountain of recordings when you're in traffic generation? That's not really your wheelhouse. So they just started passing them all to us, and we're just watching out for any agents who may be attempting to end the call early for one reason or another, so they can attempt to call them back later. And they've actually had that was a recent client that came on about a month and a half ago, and they've come back and said that it's working so well that we're now getting referral business from them from other upstream traffic generating groups that are looking to do the same.
And all they're doing is just listening essentially to the leads that they're passing over and the calls that are happening from those leads to ensure that end user, if you will, the marketer, the sales company, whatever, is actually putting their best foot forward and trying their best to execute on the leads, rather than coming back to that lead generator and saying, well, that lead was absolute garbage. Well, no, it wasn't. Right. So that's a great concept. I wouldn't have thought of that either, but that's another place I'm going to have to bring you guys up, is to some of our lead generating partners, because I had not even thought of that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're also using it, in addition to keeping their buyers honest, as a quality control tool for their upstream publishers to quickly identify groups that say they're running one type of ad, but it's very clear through what consumers are saying to the agents that they might be saying things in their ad that they shouldn't be saying, or maybe it really isn't a consumer initiated inbound call. I don't know, you guys keep calling me, for instance, right? So these networks and exchanges are both using it as a way to keep their buyers in check, but also keep their publishers in check and get ahead of any sort of compliance issue that may come down the pipe from their buyers. They'd rather be proactive than reactive in those instances. And OnScript can deliver for them in that capacity as well.
That's fantastic. That's a really great little added thing for me to put in as I'm talking to some of these lead generators that we work with. So are all of your clients kind of using OnScript AI the same way, or is there's some differentiation that you've seen that's kind of unique?
No, I would say for the most part, clients are using OnScript for our core competency of post-call call center agent QC. Um, the good news about OnScript is that it will work, and we have clients in many different verticals. We have clients that are qualification and aggregation centers. We have clients that are end buyers, right? And the main applications are for quality control of their agents, but that may be, are our agents following the correct qualification script? We work with some groups in legal and mass tort where there are very specific disclaimers and statements that need to be read explicitly by the end agent. Are these agents reading it that way? So the use cases and verticals can apply to many different groups, from qualification centers, enrollment centers, customer service, even collection centers. But the application of how they're using OnScript is mainly based on that level of QC of agents. The other use case is the one that we just went over, where groups are using OnScript to keep buyers and publishers in check outside of their internal operation, but through the same methodology of scoring calls on that scorecard. I would say those are the main applications that we've seen today. Other applications that we've discussed are large enterprise groups who have a well-oiled sales machine of SDRs and sales reps that handle these types of prospecting and qualification and discovery calls, and are taught to follow a script and ask questions a certain way, right? We can help those types of groups too, but our immediate area of focus and where we have the most connections and our lowest hanging fruit are within these types of call center businesses. So that's where we've seen to date the most amount of application of OnScript.
Okay, right on. So do you guys have any examples you could share with how OnScript has helped to kind of help facilitate collaboration or make the teams more efficient from one of the customers you've worked with?
Yeah, absolutely. And this goes back to when we first were putting together this concept of OnScript. One of the things that our CEO Kyle was incredibly adamant on is he wanted to not only automate the QC scoring process, but automate the delivery of that data to the call center agents. And so from its inception, we built in a feature of an agent reporting path, where a unique report for a call center agent is automatically generated. They get their own link and their own password, and they're able to log in and see exclusively their calls. But it's organized in a way where there's no need for a QC agent or QC team to, amass these spreadsheets or reports or however they may be doing it to deliver to the call center managers so that they can, coach their agents. It's now automated to where the agent just has their login. They can go into the system, see all their calls. It's all right there. And they can see their results, nearly live after they're finishing these calls.
That's pretty cool. Can it send them an email with those results too?
Yes. So
Okay.
In the new version that we spoke about, where we're going to be releasing that here first week of January, we're adding in notifications. So every notification you could think of, in-app notifications. We'll be able to push notifications into a Slack channel, as well as daily email report notifications, where you can just get a full synopsis of, hey, here's what happened yesterday on OnScript.
Right on. That's pretty slick. So, I know obviously from what we've been talking about, you guys are streamlining the QA or QC process significantly here. What kind of features do you guys think make it so unique with OnScript compared to anybody else out there that's trying to do something similar? Because I hear that the Convosos and the 5.9s of the world are trying to build something like this. I have yet to see anything that is as smooth and can work with lots of other platforms as what you guys do, but you guys would know better.
Yeah, thanks for those compliments, Alec. I think that what Alan had just mentioned about our reporting, giving agents at the source the ability to go in and digest their calls at any period of time, either right after it happened, at the end of their shift, before their shift starts. That's a huge, unique differentiator that we offer that we don't really see out there. Other things that we are building, like Alan mentioned, the alerting system, where if for some reason there's a really egregious thing said on a call, you might not want to get to that when the QC supervisor has the time to look at it. You might want to know as soon as we hear that, there's an alert, it goes to the QC supervisor, they can address it right then and there. Other features that we're rolling out that we're excited about is our two-way API. So we're going to make it pretty easy for users to not even go into the OnScript platform and suck in the data that we spit out into their own CRM, into their own dialer, right? To make it really easy for them to leverage the tools and features that OnScript offers. And I think just from a high level, as a call center supervisor, as somebody who leads a client service team or media teams, makes it really easy. Our analytics page makes it really easy for any of these users to log in, get a very, very high level snapshot of performance of agents segmented by buyers, segmented by media sources, right? And then drill down from there to understand where they and their team need to better coach agents, go back to downstream media partners and say, hey, we're seeing something weird on your call, or going back to your buyer and say, hey, like, what's going on here? It looks like this agent is hanging up at 87 seconds a lot of the time on a 90-second duration call. Like, right, it makes it really easy for power users, managers, supervisors of the platform to get into the weeds very easily without having to listen to recordings themselves, wait for human agents to get that information over to them, which naturally fosters collaboration amongst team members and greater production and efficiency of the business.
Yeah, I'm learning more just in this conversation about what you guys can do, right? So, the analytics, the reporting capabilities, and the fact that the agents can see what they've done well and what they haven't, but that, they can be coached up and maybe coached out, but more likely just coached up, can really create that business efficiency long term for an organization that, it's hard to, one, hire people. It's hard to keep people. So you want to keep the good people, and you want to be able to coach the people that need the help. And a tool like OnScript AI is going to be, you'd be crazy running a contact center not to have something like OnScript AI in your organization to help make sure that you're protecting that investment of the people that you bring on, because that's one of the biggest investments anybody makes. So, I don't want to keep you guys all day here. So, we know that CallShaper is integrated with OnScript AI, but what is the process of connecting a client's platform, whether it's CallShaper or, any of our competitors out there? What is the process of connecting look like now, and what might it look like down the road?
Yeah. So as it stands right now, our integration is pretty simple. It's just a webhook. We integrate via an API endpoint. We've got a really nice documentation put together by your team that we offer to onboarding clients, where it's pretty straightforward, and they can get in and build out the webhook integration in CallShaper. What we're very happy to announce is we're going to be soon launching a plugin within CallShaper where that documentation will no longer be needed. It's going to be as simple as letting your rep know, hey, we're going to start using OnScript now. We saw the plugin and we want to give it a shot. We get into contact with that client, and it's as simple as a push of a button. They add their API key and away they go. They start pushing calls into OnScript.
Excellent. I can't wait for this. It's going to be a game changer. I'm sorry, Rob.
Oh, no, I just wanted to expand on what Alan was saying. So to take it a step further on integration, we've got the webhook and the API, which will allow the calls to flow into OnScript. We don't sit in any of our client systems, right? We don't sit in your dialer. We don't sit in any CRM. Calls get pushed into OnScript. We also have a full onboarding team that will work with our clients to build their first scorecard. And we lay out kind of the details and the timeline for each. So once the calls are flowing, once we have the scorecard built, we'll do a platform training session with the power users. From there begins, and this is a very big highlight and differentiator of OnScript, we are giving all of our partners a free pilot period where they can open the hood, test drive the car, make sure they like the platform with no cost to them. We'll build one campaign, we'll score, transcribe, summarize their calls, we'll refine our prompt to get it right. And usually from the point that we start our scoring till the point that the campaign is in a good place, everybody feels great about the output, is about a 2-week process. So that's really the simple steps. We integrate the API, we build the scorecard, we bring everyone on for training, we let it run for a week. Everybody's in the system using it, listening, seeing what the output is and how the calls are being scored and the actual call details themselves. Start tweaking, which takes about a week or so, sometimes less, sometimes a little more. And only at the point that our clients are satisfied with that initial campaign, then they'll move to paying customer. And we've got great stickiness rate. I think to date, there's really only been one partner who, after the trial, said, hey, we need to refine some things and we want to pause before moving on. But other than that, we've got full retention, full stickiness of all of our members from trial. And we really do make it as easy as possible for partners to integrate, which is why we're really excited about the plugin that we'll have with you guys, to where people just want to use OnScript, they press the button, make it easy. And now we know at least that part, which is really the most heavy lifting, is solved, is that API where we're connecting the calls into our system. And that's how it works.
That's so cool, because it makes it, again, we're talking about efficiencies here, right? It creates an easy plug-in so that it's almost plug and play, right? Yeah, they have to go through the training. They have to make sure they've got that support from you guys to get started. But they don't have to be some rocket scientist to figure it out. They just need to know, here's what I need my scorecards to be listening for and doing. And then I'm going to flip a switch, add a code, and all right, now I can sit back, relax, and pay attention to the big things like getting more clients in and coaching people up and making sure I don't lose employees because they say something stupid, right? I can coach them and catch them before it becomes habit.
Yep.
That's right. And if the platform is easy enough for this idiot over here to understand it, that's the litmus test, I promise. For everybody else, it's a very easy to digest reporting platform and analytics. So the training it's very intuitive. The platform is very intuitive in how to use it. If I can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm a sales guy, so I'm kind of the idiot in the room most of the time when people are talking about how things actually work. Like, oh, right over my head. So, well, guys, it's been great having you on. I really appreciate your time. I've learned a lot, like I said, but is there anything else you guys want to, say as kind of parting words before we wrap it up?
From my perspective, I was just going to say, we appreciate the opportunity. This has been a lot of fun. More importantly, we appreciate the deep partnership that we have with CallShaper, and we're really excited about 2024 and beyond, because we know that together we add so much value to your users, to your customers, and we're really excited about what the future holds, and really appreciative for you bringing us on, for us being the first guest on your podcast. And thank you, Alec.
Yeah, it's been great. So if somebody wants to learn more other than reaching out to us at CallShaper, how do they get to you guys?
Yeah, we've got, our corp site, onscript.ai. We've got a YouTube channel as well with some, just videos, just giving you very high level how to get through OnScript, all the bits and bobs going on in there. And then, you can reach out to either Rob or I, Rob at OnScript AI, Alan at OnScript AI. And we'd be happy to, set up a call and have a conversation about what we can do for you.
Okay, fantastic. And of course, they can always reach out to me, and I'm always here to help. So right on, guys. Well, listen, again, thank you so much for taking the time. Have a wonderful holiday and Happy New Year. And we'll be in touch about getting this next stage of the integration up and cooking.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Alec. Happy holidays to you and your family as well.